Hey guys, welcome back to another video. However, today I'll be flying solo. I'm not going with the kids today. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more information, more education. I will be taking you along with me today to the franchise showcase. So for those of you who are interested in starting businesses and you want to go to the franchise route, this video will be for you guys. So I'll be taking you to the franchise showcase to get you information, education, and how you go about starting a franchise business. So come along with me to the franchise showcase. Yes, so I just pulled into the Congress Center. It's a beautiful day. It's a bit dark, cloudy, but it's not very cold. You know, as you can see, it's like a nice, beautiful day. As you can see the colors of the trees, like everything's changing around, and it's nice, beautiful. So we're gonna go ahead inside and gonna take you inside the Congress Center to show you the franchise showcase. So come along with me. Okay guys, so as you can see, like it's extremely busy in here today. You know, I think they host shows like this at least once, twice per year, like at this location. So it's pretty much like a one-stop to get information on franchising. Mostly restaurants, but I'm seeing there are a lot of other businesses that you can buy franchise of these businesses also. And you know, they have a few workshops. They have a lot of brochures. You can sample a lot of the items. There are a lot of new franchises, like some of franchises that you have not heard of before, that they're not really very common, not the regular like Burger King, KFC, McDonald's. There are a lot of new businesses going into the franchising space. So when you come here, like you get to get all those information. And the good thing about some of the franchise that are not as big as a McDonald's is that the price that you pay for it is just a fraction of what, because like a McDonald's, Burger King franchise, you could be paying upwards of over $1 million. But I'm seeing franchises here that you can buy for as low as $100,000, $150,000. So I'm going to continue to go around. I'm going to go to some of the workshop. I'm going to get some more information, and I'm going to bring you guys these information.
So what are some of the questions you usually ask of your franchisor, and then we'll go over the opposite franchises?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously what's involved in the cost. So the cost of the franchise you're looking to purchase, where that money goes to in a sense of royalties, marketing, brand development, all those things. I mean, those questions are really, really important for you to know what it is that you're spending your money on, what kind of training that you're getting as a new franchise owner is also very, very important. Ongoing training new franchisees coming into the system? Do you have regular meetings with your franchisees, seminars, conferences? Again, you want to be able to network with your other local franchises, or even throughout Canada, or if it's something throughout North America. It's always good to stay connected with winners in your franchise group so you can learn from them. Even though there are policies in place, there's always different things people do to make sure that their businesses are successful, and those are really important things you want to be able to tap into with other franchise partners. So finding out from the franchisor, what benefits can they bring to you, and really, again, like, ask a lot of those questions, write it down, and then maybe ask if you can follow up and talk to a couple franchisees and find out why they've been in business for so long. Like, I've been here 19 years, and it's not because I don't like it. I love what I do. I love the people. I love, like, say, the brand, the colors. So again, really do your due diligence that way. And
Okay, guys, that was it. As I said, like, information overload. There are a lot of information that you think that you don't need, but when you're getting it, you're like, okay, yeah, that's really needed. So it was a good event. More people than I expected. It's like very busy inside, and it's a 2-day event. And I expected more franchises there, but the ones that are there, like, the information was good. You know, I learning a lot, and they're also brokers there. So they're like the middle person. So you can go through a broker to pretty much get to any one of those franchise that you're trying to get to. So if you're trying to get to, like, McDonald's or Burger King, KFC, and they were not at the showcase, like, there's still, like, a broker that you can go through. So yeah, very good information. And as I said, you know, when I get home, I'll share some of this information with you. So I'll see you guys in just a minute. So I'm back home. I'm now in the studio, and I'm going to give you some feedback on my experience at the Franchise Expo. At first, I think I'll just give you some feedback first, and then after that, I'll give you, things that you need to know before you even consider if this is something that you want to do. And then to end it, I'll give you the pros and the cons of, going this route, thinking about a franchise. So the feedback, I would say I like to rate things. So I would give it a 9 out of 10 for overall experience. It was very organized. It's a ticketed event, but it was free. But you had the option to go online, download a ticket, a QR code to your phone. So for, like, security, crowd control type of thing. So you download the QR code on your phone. You go in, they have all the information there. So it's not an event that you had to pay to attend. First impression, like, it was a lot of people. I didn't expect that much in terms of the crowd. Normally when you go to showcase, like, a family fair, a home improvement show, those type of showcase, like, you're expecting a big crowd because it's something, families going together, thinking of things to do with their homes and stuff like that. But this is particular for business, like if you're thinking of going into the business space. So I was actually surprised that there was, the crowd was that huge. Another thing is the booth, like the way everything was the layout of the Congress Center. It was very good. It was very organized. You had your different. It's mostly what you have to understand in the franchise space. It's mostly the food industry, restaurants, and other food people who are in that space. I think I've seen a few companies that are not involved in food that offers franchise. But for the most part, it's food. 90% it's food. So what was good is that, all the booths, They had their staff there answering your question. They have brochures with pretty much 90% of what you need to know in terms of the cost, that the overall cost, and a breakdown of the structure of how you'll see where the money is going. Also, a lot of the booths, they had samples. So, for example, some of the pizza restaurants, they had people, chefs there making pizza. Some of there are a lot of juice bars now popping up with franchise. So, you're able to sample juice. They had different breakout rooms at different times of the day when you can get all the information that you need, like questions to ask, what to look forward to when you're thinking about going this route in terms of franchise. So overall experience, I would say it's a 9, and that is pretty good because you could see how organized it was from you entered the space, like the signs towards the Congress Center, because there's a lot of other events that's taking place. So the signing to show you where to go, the security to show you the direction, the parking, a lot of parking. So it was very good. So what I'll do next, as I said, I'll break down, things to know before you even attempt to do this. Okay, so now let's focus on things that you need to know if you're considering going into this franchise space. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be focusing on restaurants. Like I've been in the hospitality industry for a long time. I operated a restaurant for quite a few years. So for the purpose of this, we're going to zone in on restaurants. So first thing you need to know before you even considering it, franchise, it's expensive. It is expensive. So I would say on the lower end, don't even think about it if you don't have $500,000. And this focuses on North America, so it's Canadian dollars or American dollars. I'm not really sure about Mexico, but for the purpose of this video, it's Canadian and American dollars. And I'll just leave it at the 500,000, whether it's 500,000 Canadian, 500,000 US dollars. Don't even think about it if you don't have that money to invest, because restaurant business, franchising, it's very expensive. And $500,000, it's the lower end. So if you're considering it starts at 5 and it could go to, I would say 1.5, depending on what you're looking for. The higher end, you're looking at Starbucks, you're looking at a McDonald's franchise, you're looking at KFC. Those franchise, they cost way more than some of the new restaurant entering the franchise space. So that is the first thing. If you don't have that money, don't even think about it. So that's the first thing to know. The second thing about franchise, I would say you have zero to little control over the business. You're buying into a structure that's already there, so you have little or no input. So that is something that you need to consider if you're going into the franchise space. And I would say the third thing is that location. This is something that I learned today. You don't choose your location. Your location is chosen for you. So it's not like you see a new building going up and you're like, oh, I could put a Burger King there or a McDonald's there. No. Like the franchisee, they have locations already mapped out for you, and you buy into that location. That is something that I'm learning today. So it's not, you don't have control over that. From what I've heard so far from today, if you are already in the space, there's flexibility where if you see a location that you're considering, like if there's a new mall going up or there's like a new condominium with space there that for restaurants or for small businesses, you could reach out to the franchise and they would send their team over to look at it. But for the most part, they have preset locations already, and you're just buying into those locations. So those are a few of the stuff that you would need to know even before you take up the phone or before you go and meet with someone trying to get into the franchise space. First, very expensive. Second, you have no control over the business itself. You're just investing in a business that the model is already set. And the third, the location. Like, it's almost like a lottery. And another thing too is that it's a very coveted space. So for example, the showcase that I went to today, there was a lot of franchise that was missing. There was like no McDonald's, there was no KFC, Burger King at the showcase. And the reason for that is that they did not need to be there because they close the opportunity for you to have franchise, because in this space, I guess they have a duty to the franchise owners that they're not oversaturating the market with Burger Kings and McDonald's. So most of the areas that are pretty much covered. So there's not a lot of opportunity for those top franchise companies unless, there's someone that bought into a franchise and they are about to retire or they're cashing out, then you can go in. So these are some of the stuff that you need to think about, and I'm coming up with the pros and the cons of the franchise space. Okay, so now I have a list of pros. I'm going to go with the pros first. Good news first. So I'm going to go with the pros first, and I list out 5, not in any particular order, but this is the 5 that jumped out to me at first. So I'm just going to give you this 5. And the first pro is that when you buy into a franchise, you're buying into a business that's already established. As a restaurant owner, someone that, went through the process of opening a restaurant, name recognition and all of that good stuff, that is very important. So for most restaurant owners, you're opening a business without name. It takes you at least 3 years minimum to get your name established out there if you're doing it the traditional way. There are some restaurants that, have been fortunate enough to, whether social media or whether help from some type of celebrity, put a name recognition out there before the 3 years. But for the average business owner, you're looking at 3 years. So that's pro number 1, like the name recognition. It's already established. So name recognition is there. So number 1, established business. Number 2, I would say, which is very important, you get to profitability faster. Because just say, for the sake of this video, a McDonald's. If you buy into a McDonald's franchise, it's very expensive, but at least you know that it's very established. Like it's very rare to go to a McDonald's without a line. There's always a lineup at the drive-thru or inside the restaurant. So even though you're investing a lot of money, you're going to see profitability much faster. And again, if you're doing a burger joint without a name, then profitability is going to be like between 3 or 5 years before you can start putting back money in your pocket. When you go this route, I would say, like, depending on your location, you could see profitability within 1 year if you have a franchise like a McDonald's. So that's, number 2 on my list. And number 3, I mentioned it already, name recognition. McDonald's is there, like they have a marketing force behind them. They have social media, they have traditional media, TV, radio, cable, billboards. So when you pay into a franchise, it's expensive, but when you pay into it, you're getting those benefits, and name recognition for any business is very important. And then number 4, I would say funding. For anyone that's in the space or considering going into the restaurant space, this is vital. This is very important. Restaurant business are businesses. They're one of the few business in North America. I'm not sure Europe or the Caribbean, but in North America, they don't get funded by banks. If you go to the bank and you say like, I'm opening this restaurant, nah, they're not even taking an appointment, giving you an appointment to get a loan. Most mom and pop restaurant businesses, they have to fund it out of their pocket. When I was opening the restaurant, what we had to do, we had to take out a second mortgage on our home. So funding, that's another pro because of the name recognition, because you're tied into like almost like a giant organization like a McDonald's. The bank will sit with you and just say you have one franchise and it's going well and you're trying to spread your wings. I know people with 2-3 McDonald's franchise. So you have one, you're trying to spread your wing. The bank will sit and the bank will listen to you because you're a part of like a giant. That's McDonald's. So funding is number 4, and then number 5, I put training. The franchise, they offer training for like for the person that's buying the franchise, like they have a mentorship program where there are people in the system already that they will connect you with, so you can hear these people experience that have bought into the franchise system already. They have training for staff, they have training for management. So overall, these are the 5 things that, jump out to me. And I think it's good. And I think they're very important because, as I said, if you're going to spend $1 million for a McDonald's franchise, a Burger King franchise, a KFC, these things are very important. So those are the pros. And then I'm going to take a look at the cons because those are important too. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the cons, the negative. And I think this might be the most important part of this video because this is the make or break part of the video. The disadvantages. So the first disadvantage, which should be the most obvious one, is that it's extremely expensive. Extremely expensive. As I said, like for the basic franchise that pretty much unknown, like not a lot of people really know about them, like franchise that's not on the level of a McDonald's or a Burger King, you're looking at $500,000, right? There are a few examples that I've seen, some burrito places, some juice places that the name does not just jump out at you like that. And you're still looking at $500,000. And as I said, as someone that started a restaurant before, you're looking at $500,000 to buy into a franchise. That's not your name. You're buying into a system as opposed to maybe $200,000 or less if it's your idea, you're branding your own business, and you are trying to build a business from ground up. So it's pretty much like could cost you double or more to buy into a franchise. So that's the negative, con number 1. It's very expensive. Number 2 for me would be, and as I said, this is something that I learned today, that you don't get to choose your location. So for myself, like with a young family and want a business that's close to where I live, if I decide tomorrow that I, want a pizza franchise, just say like a Papa John's or Pizza Hut franchise, if I go into to try and get a franchise, I have to get the franchise that's available because the locations are pre-selected and everything is set even in terms of the decor of the restaurant, and everything is set. You're just buying into something that's set. So that's another downside of the franchise business. And number 3, you have no control. You have no control over this business. You're buying into it. You buy into a good franchise. You make money. We go into business to make money, but you have no control over what happens. For example, renovations. I'll use McDonald's again. McDonald's, is notorious for this. Like they go through a lot of renovation, a lot of facelift. I think every 5 to 6 years, the designs change. If you buy into a franchise, that's coming. Those changes are coming out of your pocket, right? If you buy into a franchise, you can't just say, "Nah, I'm not changing," because you sign a contract, right? So you have to go along with that. So you can't be skimping and say, "I'm not going to change," So no control. So that is very important when you're looking into a franchise and you're signing those things, just those contracts. You just know that you really have no say in it. You're just investing and making money. So, that's one. Number 4, I would say flexibility. No flexibility, or little or no flexibility. So when you're signing a contract, you have to look at stuff like that too. For example, if you are, as I said, like you have a young family, you're in the business every day, and you're like, I don't want to work 7 days a week. For a franchise like McDonald's, again, they have their image. So it's like you don't go and see a McDonald's that's closed on Saturday or closed on Sunday. They're pretty much open every day. So it's not you can't just decide that I'm going to open the time I want to open. I'm going to close the time I want to close. It's similar to when you're in a mall. Like most malls come with a contract that you have to open when the mall is open, you have to close when the mall is closed. Because in their interest, their name is at stake, and they don't want someone to say, like, oh my gosh, like I went to this McDonald's and they're closed on Saturdays or they're closed on Sundays, they're open too late or they're closed too early. So flexibility. When you start your own restaurant, you can close on Tuesday if you want, you can close on Sunday if you want, you can close on Saturday. So that's another thing to look into, before you sign a contract. Lack of flexibility when you're dealing with a franchise. And number 5, in terms of the culture, like in the day that we're living in, the age that we're living in, most businesses have a certain culture that they come with. It could be like political motivated. It could be just the culture of the day. And that franchise, if their culture is something that doesn't align with your culture, you're not able to change. You have to align with what they are about. And the perfect example, what we've seen so far, we saw it with Budweiser, this year, a few years ago. We saw it with Target. We're seeing it with different brands. So just for example, like you're part of a fast food chain, they decide that they want to promote, different lifestyle, and if you're not a part of that lifestyle, if that's something that you don't endorse, like you do not have the option of saying like, no, I'm not a part of that. When they send their menu, their flyers, they decor their building, or they're decorating the space, you can't just say like, nah, I'm not a part of that. So the part of the culture, you don't get to create their culture, because as I said, you're buying into a system that's already there. It's like a multi-billion-dollar organization that's already there before you stepped in. So you owning 1 or 2 franchise, you can't change the culture of the entire franchise. So, those are a few of the things that you need to look into before you sign your name to any contract going into a franchise. So tell me if this video was helpful to you. As I said, I was a part of the restaurant business I've been in hospitality for over 20 years in the restaurant. The good thing about opening a restaurant with your name, your logo, everything you control, you have 100% control over everything. The con is that, profitability, you might not get there until 5 years. And most restaurant business fail in 3 years. That's just the reality of the business, the restaurant space. Most businesses fail in at least in 3 years. The good thing with the franchise, you don't really see franchise fail like that, because you're into like a multi-billion-dollar engine. And once you have the money, you're guaranteed success. You're not gonna you don't really see these franchise restaurants closing as much as mom and pop. So, tell me if this video was helpful to you. I hope it was. And if there's anything else that you need to know, any more information, you can just leave a comment in the comment section and I'll be glad to reply to you. So thank you for watching again.